Hey everybody, it's Avianna, and today I will be doing another book report. This book report, I'm going to be doing it on this book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. This is by Harv.Eker, and I love this book. It's a great book. Watching to find out if we learn the same things or different things, and if we learn different things, then comment down below what you learned that I did not connect to as much. In part 1, he called it the money blueprint. I love this part because how I connected to it was that make a plan first and then follow that plan, and that's how you get the best results. In this part, he also said that the roots create the fruits. So he means the plan and the blueprint create the successful business. In this part, he also said some wealth principles. So I'm going to share a few that he said. Number 1, he said your income can grow only to the extent you do. Number 2, he said if you want to change the fruits, you'll first have to change the roots. If you want to change the visible, you first must change the invisible. Number 3, thoughts lead to feelings. Feelings lead to action. Action leads to result. And finally, the last four. Number 4, it says, if your motivation for acquiring money or success from a non-supportive route, such as fear or anger, or the need to prove yourself to other people, your money will never bring you happiness. That's what I learned in part 1. Another thing I really liked, he asked questions that you could answer. And you will know if you're lying. And if you're saying, I want to be the most famous entrepreneur in the world, I want to teach people my way of starting a business to help them. But you're just sitting on your bed, scrolling through social media, just not doing anything. You're only cheating yourself. Moving on to part 2. He called this part the wealth file. He also said 17 ways people think and act differently from poor and middle class people. Moving on to part 2. He called this part the wealth file. 17 ways rich people think and act differently from poor and middle class people. In this part, he said something. He said we're called wealth files, as well as the wealth principles. So, I'm going to tell you the top 3 of each one I connected to the most. Before we start, I just wanted to say, poor people and rich people usually act pretty differently from each other. I'm not saying all poor people or rich people act like that, but I've noticed usually they act pretty different. Wealth file number 1. Rich people believe I created my life. Poor people believe life happens to me. That's 2 different ways of thinking, and they're both going the opposite ways. Wealth file number 2. Rich people are committed to being rich. Poor people are not committed to being poor. They want to be rich. And finally, wealth file number 3. Rich people associate with positive and successful people, while poor people usually associate with negative or unsuccessful people. Now, moving on to wealth principles. Number 1, leaders earn a lot of more money than followers. Number 2, if you say you're worthy, if you say you're worthy, you are. If you say you're not worthy, you're not. Either way, you live into your story. And lastly, number 3. Now, number 3, I really connected to it because my dad, Avianna, says this all the time to me and my sister. So in number 3, it says, how you do anything is how you do everything. And obviously I connected to that one because my dad says it a lot. Those were the 2 parts, and that's what I learned. This book taught me everything from money blueprints to different ways poor and rich people and middle class people act. I hope you learned a lot from my book report, and I hope you learned as much as I do when you read it. Thank you for watching. Bye!